Extreme weather disasters don't just threaten the world around us. They are also a psychological storm front that puts 25 to 50% of those exposed at risk of adverse mental health effects. And this is according to the National Institutes of Health. Amidst this tumultuous landscape, the Tara approach emerges as an essential instrument designed to heal emotional and physical imbalances. Developed by Dr. Stephanie Mines, the Tara approach combines the best of Eastern and Western healing. It offers a transformative and holistic path to restoring buoyancy and resilience from within. At the heart of the Tara approach is Jinshin Tara, an elegant synthesis of the ancient Japanese art of compassion called Jinshin and Dr. Mines' extensive expertise in trauma resolution. This unique blend offers a gentle, non-invasive touch therapy that unlocks the body's innate ability to heal itself and reignites the flow of energy throughout the mind-body. The research behind Tara connects the dots between embryology, energy medicine, somatic depth psychology, and epigenetics. From personal trauma recovery to providing aid in disaster relief efforts, and from nurturing children's emotional well-being to supporting families in crisis, the Tara approach offers hope and healing when and where it is needed the most. In today's world, Tara illuminates our innate capacity for resilience. It not only meets the health consequences of the climate crisis, it evolves consciousness individually and collectively. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to see all of you. Some wonderful opportunities here for me to reconnect with people I haven't seen in a while, like Philomena Hunt in my beloved Ireland. Hi, Philomena. Hello, everyone. Bienvenido. Welcome, everyone, to the informational session for the launch of Regenerative Health for a Climate Changing World. This is a very exciting moment for me, as this program really is the birth of a vision that I have carried for most of my life. And you'll hear the stories about that origination, that embryogenesis of this vision at some point when you join this remarkable, courageous program, Regenerative Health for a Climate Changing World, an MA and PhD program with Ubiquity University. Let's begin with a centering. I'm doing this for myself, and hopefully it will also benefit you, so that I can really focus with my excitement and share it with you. So let's bring the palms of the hands together so that the pads of all the fingers make contact with one another. And the palms also, to the extent that is easy for you, is in direct and intimate relationship, right to left. And bring that inju or mudra to the heart center. Close your eyes for a moment, soften your joints. Drop into the earth that is sustaining us and allow your breath to come into your belly. Feel your belly filling up with the breath of life. Emptying out. Feel that slight organic pause. And then the filling up again. Let's just stay with that. With the exhalation approximately twice as long as the inhalation, for a cycle of 5 breaths. title of this practice, the main central vertical flow that I learned from my teacher, Mary Eno Burmeister, now my ancestor, is I am the divine presence in the honorific center of the universe. And that is the essence of the Regenerative Health program, which is about empowered healthcare. It is courageous. You are courageous for embarking on this program. It is a systemic shift in how we understand and deliver healthcare at the groundswell level. I want to introduce the faculty, myself, Dr. Stephanie Mines, Bring Chung, and Stella Eisenstein. And I want to now turn this over to Peter Mary, who will introduce the Ubiquity staff. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you, Spring and Stephanie and Stella for putting this together. What an amazing opportunity, and wonderful to see you all here. And I know that there's a number of people who'll be watching the recording who are down under from where I am anyway, and can't make it in person. So my name's Peter Merry, one of the co-founders of Ubiquity University and currently managing director. Well done to Bettina, who for getting up at 1 a.m. Oh no, it's Spring who's got up at 1 a.m. God blimey.
Oh no, I was welcoming Bettina, who's, I know it's midnight for her.
What commitment, there we go. So I'm just going to say a few words from my perspective on why we would want to do this as Ubiquity, and then introduce the other team members, and then hand you over to Raji, who will just say a little bit about how the whole program works, so that you've got that information before we open it up for questions. So Ubiquity University is really kind of been established to create a higher education that we feel is really relevant to the world today, in the context of all the changes that are going on, and in the context of an education system that largely seems to be failing our planet and the people who live on it. So part of that for us is really looking the reality in the eye of what's going on the planet at this time, and acknowledging that it's our inner development that will ultimately equip us to be able to make a positive contribution. And so the combination of facing the climate-related issues and other issues at the moment, and the speed of change that we're in, together with a commitment to a real discipline in our inner work, is what kind of shapes Ubiquity's mission. And as we look around the world today, we see that the kind of learning that's actually going to help humanity through this transition is not happening in the mainstream higher education institutions, but is happening in these other learning institutions around the world, like the learning that Stephanie offers. And there should be, from our perspective, absolutely no reason why these learning programs shouldn't get recognized in the context of higher education, given the quality of the learning experience that people have and their relevance to the world today. So part of our commitment is to find these learning programs that we feel are really transformational, are really going to equip people with the inner qualities as well as the mindset and the skill set to make a positive contribution in the world, and enable them to connect to a graduate program so that their learners can also take that time, that really valuable time, to go deep into their thesis for the master's or dissertation process for the PhD, and come up with a piece of work that the world can trust. Because when you look around at the moment, there's so much fake news. Now you've got AI probably writing dissertations all over the place with ChatGPT. But for a student to go deep into a topic, ground it in proper research, be completely explicit about their own individual inner journey, which is a key part of the Ubiquity education. If you take a traditional university, you're not even allowed to start a sentence with I. the first person is banned because it's not objective. But as we know from not just the wisdom traditions, but increasingly quantum science, the first person perspective influences what we call the third person perspective. And so you can't take it out of the equation. So at Ubiquity, you have to actually be explicit about your own inner journey in that process. So that leads you to creating a piece of work through your thesis or dissertation that you can trust because you've gone deep into it and it provides a platform for you moving forward. And importantly, the world can trust because they can see the research that you've done and you've been completely transparent about your own inner journey in that process. So it's a wonderful opportunity to build on the work that Stephanie's done, for many, many, many years and her colleagues, and enable people to go really deep into their particular focus, your particular take on that topic and produce something, to go on a journey first for yourself, which is really what thesis and dissertation writing is, and then to come up with a piece of work that will hopefully provide you with a synthesis of who you are and where you're at now, and provide a platform to move forward, as well as provide the world with a piece of work that they can trust is really providing insight. That's important for everyone at this time. So thank you all for your interest and for showing up. We also have with us Dr. Jim Garrison, who's also one of the co-founders at Ubiquity and president and chief academic officer. And Jim will run the Creative Journey to Dissertation course, or has run in the past, and he'll be able to share with you more about that because that's a core course in the program. Nora is our director of admissions, so she'll be the one helping you through the admission process and can answer any practical questions around that. And Raji is our director of partnerships, so he'll be able to tell you more about the structure of the whole program and the partnership as a whole. So I think with that, I'll hand over to you, Raji, and you can give them give us all a starting point, and then let's open it up for questions and see what questions any of you might have.
Great, thank you, Peter. I'm just going to share a link in the chat to our landing page for this program, which really has all the information you need in terms of how the program is run, as well as how you can enroll. But just to run you through it, I'll take a few minutes. Essentially, the program is sort of split into two, where you would do your coursework in regenerative health with Dr. Stephanie Mines and her team, and you would come to Ubiquity to write your thesis or dissertation. And that's really the split. If you go down the page, you'll see that if you're doing a master's degree, you would do your coursework with Dr. Mines, and then the things you would do with Ubiquity, as you see here, are the Creative Journey to Dissertation course, which is a 5-day intensive, 3 hours a day for 5 days. Jim will talk to you more about it, but essentially what this course does is it prepares you for the thesis or dissertation writing process, both from an academic point of view, as well as from a creative point of view. If you look at the PhD, you would also have to do the Creative Journey to Dissertation course, which, by the way, we generally recommend that you do at the beginning of your coursework, because it really helps you to set the stage and create the right mindset as you go through the coursework with Dr. Mines and her team. You'll always be thinking about how you can incorporate the things you're learning into your thesis. Now, with the PhD, you'll have a couple of other requirements that you have to fulfill. So you'd have to do the Chartres Academy course with us, which can be done in person or virtually. It's an amazing course, which we'll talk about later on as well, if you have questions, as well as the great books, and then you complete your dissertation. We also have the option of an MA PhD combo, which, as you can see here, you'd have to do the Creative Journey course, the Chartres course, your great books course, and 8 credits worth of electives. Again, if you have questions on this, we'll answer them individually. You've got your prices here listed out. These prices that you see listed are what you would pay Ubiquity for our portion. Again, the program is split to make things really simple. both operationally as well as financially. So you do your coursework with Dr. Stephanie Mine's team, and you do the thesis with us. Just to run you through the rest of the page very quickly, there's some information here about the Creative Journey course. You'll see our dissertation manual here, more about the course if you click here. And another important thing to mention is that as part of your thesis writing process with us, you will have an MA advisor or a PhD advisor assigned. And this is the person that will sort of mentor you and guide you through the process. So if you click on these links, you'll find options that we have available for those roles. You may also find your own in that capacity. So I think I will leave it at that for now. It's just a very quick overview of how the whole program is structured. And I'll hand it back to Peter, but the floor will be open to questions soon.
Great. Thanks, Raji. Well, we got a question already. Nora's answered it, but Jim might want to answer in a bit more detail. Somebody said, what is the Great Books course? So Jim, maybe you can kind of describe the Great Books course for a moment.
Sure. Hi, everybody. The Great Books course was something that I actually developed many years ago for our doctoral program as a monthly graduate seminar where we could take some of the great works of human literature, both ancient and modern, East and West, that have influenced human attitudes and behavior and helped to shape history. It was very popular, so we made it a required course. So once a month, we take a book. We take 2 months per book, so we cover about 6 books per year. And it really enables all of us to delve deeply into some of the ideas and cultural memes that have been so influential in historical development. And it's the only course that we offer as well for free to the general public. But obviously the students write a paper for each book and so forth. So that's our Great Books program.
Great, thanks, Jim. Yeah, just a request, if you're not muted, to mute. I have just muted a few people to help with that, but if you've not muted, do mute. It keeps out the background noise. There's a question here, the difference between the PhD and the MA PhD, from Elizabeth, saying she already has an MA. Well, if you already have an MA, you don't need to do the MA PhD. You can just go straight into the PhD program. But Nora, maybe you just want to say a little bit about, as a way of introduction as well, say a little bit about the MA PhD program and how that's different to, the, say, the standard PhD, or doing the 2 degrees separately.
Yes, sure. Thank you, Peter. Hi, everyone. I'm Nora. I'm speaking from Italy. I'm in Milan right now, and I'm directing admissions and enrollment. So if you are applying, you will be talking with me either on a one-on-one call or emailing and submitting your application, which I will review. In terms of the degree pathways, which Raji just showed earlier on the website, the PhD pathway is, as Peter just mentioned, a track that you can apply for if you have already gotten a master's degree and you just want to go for the PhD. If you don't have a master's degree and you would like to also go for the golden medal, so the PhD, and only write one dissertation instead of writing a master's thesis and then a PhD dissertation, you can actually take some of our courses on a master's level, and then you will move on to some courses that are going to be on a PhD level, and then you write your PhD dissertation. So basically, it's a bit of a quicker way to do a master's and then go to the PhD instead of having to do 2 degrees. You will need to take a few more courses than just for the PhD pathway, but then you only have to write one dissertation. If you have any more specific questions, you can ask here, and I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
Thanks, Nora. Somebody asking about examples of electives. Maybe, Raji, you could just put a link in to the courses, or if you go to our website, you can click on courses and you'll see all the different courses and things that are available there. We have, just to clarify, we have 3 types of courses at Ubiquity. We have a nano, which is like a kind of a nugget, really, of 1 week, 1 unit. And then we have micro courses that are 4 to 5 units, and they're equivalent to 1 US credit. And then we have the macro, or kind of classic trimester courses that run for 12 to 15 weeks. And those are for 3 credits. And then some of our in-person experiences like Chartres, and actually include, and the Creative Journey course are for 4 credits. There is a payment schedule. Yeah, we can, there are 3 installments that we can offer to people. You pay the first one up front, and that secures your enrollment in the program and access to the Creative Journey to Dissertation course. Then the second installment you pay when you're ready to move on to actually writing your thesis or dissertation, and when we engage your major advisor. And the third installment is paid before you hand in your thesis or dissertation and it's assessed. Ruth already has a PhD. Is there consideration for the coursework I've completed? Not really, Ruth, because this is a PhD in a different topic. So this is a PhD in regenerative health, and therefore you need to follow the kind of Stephanie's coursework, as it were, because your dissertation would then need to build on that content to make it a PhD in that topic, as it were. Anything you want to add to that, Stephanie? I mean, you're nodding, I assume you agree. Oh, you're muted, Stephanie.
Yeah, yes, of course, complete agreement. And the core courses in the regenerative health curriculum are available. They will start being available September 16th, and those will be required for both the MA and the PhD. So you can begin those quite soon.
Great. And the Creative Journey course, which if you are engaging in the degree program, we suggest you take up front. We try to run once a month. The next one is actually in June. Raji or Nora, maybe you could pop the dates in the chat. And so you could already sign up for that if you wanted to and get going. We hope to have one in July and August as well. Just depends on the volume of people who would want to be taking it. Can you speak, Spring, can you speak a little more about what the Chartres Academy is? Well, there's only one person to do that, and that's Dr. Garrison, I believe.
Thank you, Spring. Yeah, our Chartres Academy is really the organizing principle of the university in a way. It's an annual pilgrimage that we make to Chartres in France, which is just about 40 miles west of Paris, and has been a site revered as associated with emanations of the sacred feminine for 3,000 to 4,000 years, first recognized by the early Druids. We went there when I came into Ubiquity and during my first year as president and back in 2005. And when we got to Chartres, we had several of us had very deep transformational experiences that led us to recognize that we needed to connect with Chartres in an ongoing way in order to sustain the energy that we really needed as a innovative, pioneering learning community. So every year since then, we go there, and what we study in Chartres are the 7 liberal arts. And we've had 2 cycles. We're on our 17th year coming up in July. I know it's late in the game, but if anybody's interested, between the 2nd and 8th of July, we will be there. You've all probably heard about the Chartrean Labyrinth, which is kind of one of the largest and classically profound labyrinths anywhere in the world. It's right there embedded in the floor of the cathedral. And it's a very powerful experience. Stephanie's been there. Raji, Peter comes every year. So it's really, as I said, the sanctum sanctorum of our university, and something that we tend to each and every year. And we like all our students to come at least once. That's why we've made it a core course. Obviously, if travel or expense is prohibitive, we can make available alternative, because several of our intensive there have been recorded. But there's nothing that can replace actually walking the hill of Chartres, walking the labyrinth, and deeply imbibing the sacred feminine.
Right. Thanks, Jim. Yeah, I would say that experience, like we get the whole cathedral to ourselves on a Wednesday evening to be able to walk the labyrinth in candlelight and medieval music, and it's quite an extraordinary experience, really.
I just want to share, I attended Chartres this last summer, and to me, it is really the essence, the core of what makes Ubiquity education that matters. Because to walk the labyrinth in what I consider the temple of the Black Madonna, that's my experience of Chartres, is that it's the temple of the Black Madonna. To walk the labyrinth there as part of your initiation into the rite of passage that I understand higher education to be, truly, not the way it's administered most frequently, but the way it is intended to be, shows you the intention of Ubiquity and why I'm aligned with them. It's an unforgettable experience. It's also an opportunity to experience the real Jim Garrison, who is much more than an MC every day on Humanity Rising. He is a wisdom scholar. My jaw was hanging open almost every day as I listened to Jim Garrison. And so to take the Great Books course with Jim Garrison is an adventure that you'll never forget nor regret. So my little plug from my authentic experience.
Thanks, Stephanie. Yeah, come to Chartres and see Jim Garrison unleashed. That's what it's for. Nora, there was a question, maybe you can speak a little bit to this one, because some other people might have the question as well. What if you don't have an undergraduate degree? Can you just speak a little bit to that?
Sure. I replied a little bit, but I'm happy to talk a bit more about this. So we have some students who don't hold a bachelor's degree, a diploma, when they apply for any of our degree pathways. And often they're students who have a lot of life or work experience, which we highly value at Ubiquity. And so normally what we do is I have an interview with these students or candidates, and we go through their CV and their life and work experience. And what I usually look for is specific fields where they have worked or where they have had some specific kind of experiences for about 4 to 8 years, course certificates, if they have written material that they want to show, if they have done any types of research or projects that they can show. Letters of recommendations are also very welcome. Anything that shows that they have the competence that a student would get from a bachelor's degree. So, and then once they have submitted these documents, I will review them, and sometimes we'll require maybe a course that needs to be taken with us, or writing an essay that where the candidate can also tell us why they think they have a BA equivalence. And then we take it from there. So you don't need that. You don't need to have a diploma, or even if you have actually taken some courses in other universities, you can transfer them. That's the easiest way to move forward. But it's always an individual case that I go through, and we often find that people have a lot of experience to share. It just doesn't come from academia. So
yeah, I mean, that's our commitment really to like regardless of whether you've got the bit of paper or not, it's whether you've developed the competence. And that competence can be developed in like real life situations or other learning environments. So Nora will make sure that we kind of recognize that bachelor's level competence, regardless of whether you've actually taken a degree or not. I did forget actually, because Juan Carlos doesn't normally join us, but he is with us today, Juan Carlos Arian, who's also one of the faculty, as well as being a Ubiquity graduate, who wrote an incredible dissertation, is also one of the faculty on the Creative Journey course. So Juan Carlos, maybe you could just say a few words about that course, and introduce yourself briefly and say a few words about that course for people as well.
Yes, good day.
We can't hear you very well, so maybe the mic, you need to get closer to the mic, or...
Is this better? No?
Yeah, if you hold it there, that's better, yeah.
Is this better? Yeah? Can you hear me?
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Peter, and hello to everybody. Yeah, I think what I would like to say actually is that for me, and I'll speak for myself, getting this degree at PhD at Ubiquity University was maybe one of the most, it was one of the most life transforming events in my life. It really totally changed my life. Starting with going to Chartres, which is an extra, I mean, if you can get there, please do get there. It's extraordinary. And then for me, every course had incredible richness. And then the dissertation itself, I think it's beautiful that the class is called the journey, the creative journey, because it was really both a creative and a spiritual journey for me. It's again taught by people like George Izabo and Jim, and incredible faculty members. They take you through the fact that this is not just an intellectual exercise, but it's a place where you have to bring your mind, you have to bring your soul, and you have to bring your heart. And if you do that and adopt this as basically a spiritual practice, writing this dissertation, it took me many years, by the way, which often is the case because I had a life and was working full time. But if you take it as that kind of transformative spiritual journey, I guarantee you that it will move you deeply, very deeply. I met many students that has been the case. And the class itself is like all the classes at Ubiquity, a combination of engaging your intellectual part and your creative part. And it's perfectly set up to help you move along in your journey. Maybe not all your questions will be answered there, but at least you will given some of the tools to start answering the questions on your own and with your advisor and during other courses and so on. So yeah, I just want to say that and you know, I'm not being paid to talk here today. This is coming from the heart. This is really an extraordinary opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks, Juan Carlos. And yeah, judging by the quality of the dissertation you wrote, it certainly was very impressive. Now, coming back to some of the questions here, Sheila was asking about other kind of trainings that she's done and their relevance. I mean, Sheila, because this is a master's in a specific topic in regenerative health, you really, it's like we said before, it's really the course content that's relevant to this subject matter. So, you know, biodynamic craniosacral therapy is absolutely fantastic, and yet at the same time isn't really kind of the same subject matter that Stephanie and the team are covering. So in that, if you had done some of Stephanie's courses earlier, then potentially those could be brought in for credit. But it really needs to be around this, the topic of the degree program. Yeah. You see, are there, Ruth? No, there aren't. We don't have statistics classes as part of the curriculum, Ruth, but if you feel a need for that, We do have this thing called independent study, where you can go out and find a statistics class that you like and take it there and then bring it in for credit. So that is possible. We don't have one as part of our curriculum, but you can absolutely go and take one. This would be in, I think with Georgie, you would say to Georgie, I would like to take this as part of my degree program. She'd check the course, and then you'd have an independent study agreement basically for that program. What else? How interactive is the mentor with the student? So this is, I guess, we're referring to the major advisor for the degree program. Well, that's kind of up to you and the major advisor to decide how often you want to have a conversation. Obviously, there's a conversation up front. My experience when I did my PhD was after I'd written every chapter, I sent it to my major advisor for them to review, and then we had a conversation about it, and I did the next version of it, and so it's an agreement that you make between the two of you. Georgie, who's our Dean of Graduate Studies, who's not here at the moment, she's on a trek in Ladakh actually at the moment, she would always say it's a very important relationship, the major advisor relationship, because they're really kind of your guide on the journey. And we, on our site, we have a number that we recommend through us, but you can go and find your own major advisor, and it's your responsibility to find the person that you think best fits you. The only criteria really is that if you're doing an MA, they need to have an MA. Or a master's degree, if you're doing a PhD, they also need to have a PhD. But otherwise, you're free to choose, someone who you think could guide you best, on the one hand in your topic you want to go into, and on the other hand in the kind of discipline of academic writing. If you're inquiring about who are the major advisors, I think I answered that. Elizabeth, how long can we take to finish the chosen program? This is another one that Georgie would normally answer and say, we generally say 7 years. However, Georgie will then go on to say, well, take as long as you want, but do finish it in this lifetime. Otherwise, you'll have to come back and finish it in the next. So, so it's flexible. And sometimes we have, life happens, right? We start enthusiastically and then stuff happens and we can't do anything maybe for a year or two and we come back to it. Or like Juan Carlos was saying, and was the case for me, I was working kind of full time and I just took a morning. I dedicated a morning every week, Friday mornings it was, every week, to read, reflect and write, as well as going on the courses. And then after 7 years, I was done. So it's different for everybody. Some people just like to kind of focus fully for 3 years and complete it. Others like to spread it out over time. So there's a lot of flexibility there. And unlike other universities, we don't charge you per year. So a lot of universities will make you pay a fee every year, however long you stay in the program. But we just have a one-off fee, basically, that covers you for however long you're in the program. Stephanie, did you want to come in?
I do, because I want to let everyone know that I will be an instigator for Alacrity in terms of completion. This is regenerative health for a climate changing world. The crisis is now. So I will not encourage you to perseverate. I will not encourage you to procrastinate. That would be a choice that you would make, I would say, to the detriment of the world. This is not a time to drag things out. The need is immediate, and one of the intentions of this program, one of the aspects of it that is essential to it, is the recognition of the need for a cadre of regenerative health practitioners. Those are the skills that you acquire in this program. So why would you delay in bringing those gifts to the world at a time in which health is challenged in an unprecedented way at every level of life experience?
Very good. Thank you, Stephanie. Maybe you can answer this one from Ruth as well. She's asking, how many classes do you have to complete before starting the dissertation? She also said credits. It's 16 of the 30 credits, Ruth. are completed with Stephanie's program. I don't know how many classes that is, Stephanie. Do you?
The exact number of classes, I'd have to go back to the curriculum to count them up. But we do begin with the core courses starting September 16th. So start right there. In addition to those core courses, the faculty, me, Dr. Spring Chung, and Stella Eisenstein, we are introducing our tracks as well. So this program is unique in that you are not only orienting towards the final degree that you aim for, simultaneous with that process, you can also become highly skilled and even certified in the tracks that we make available. The TAR approach for the resolution of shock and trauma, which is my track, the resonance code, the resonance path, which is Dr. Chung's path, and resonant attention, which is Stella Eisenstein's path. So you can become proficient in any or all of those tracks as you earn your degree.
Right. And is there a list yet anywhere, Stephanie, of the whole curriculum available for people?
Yes, I can provide that. If people want to email me directly, I'll put my email in the chat.
Right.
We are still tweaking some minor aspect of it, but the program is finalized. And I do want to say that it is a finalized curriculum. It is in place. There's just some really tiny little details that are still a little wobbly. One, actually, that I'm working with. And I want to mention this person's name, Dr. Nalini Yadav. I want to let you know, just because I feel so indebted to her. She has been my consultant. I've never developed an MA PhD curriculum before. I've been through those processes myself. I've done extensive clinical research, and that has been published and peer reviewed and done all of those required things, but I haven't actually developed a curriculum before. So this was the first time, and I was so fortunate to have the guidance of Dr. Nalini Yadav, who is not only my student, but who is someone adept at curriculum development. So I'm still consulting with her. We have one more thing we need to resolve, but with her incredible help, we have created a stellar, rigorous curriculum, and I can make that available to you directly through email.
Perfect, thank you. And somebody was asking about the link to enroll, so you can start the Creative Journey course as soon as possible. I just put the link in there. That's the landing page with all the information. And when you sign up from this landing page and make the first installment or decide to pay it all up front, that's up to you, then you get access to the Creative Journey course. And the next one is in June, starting to fill up. So if you're interested in June, then sign up and let us know as soon as possible. Good. Here's the question here. Is prenatal and perinatal psychology part of the MA coursework? Is a question from Sheila, Stephanie.
Yes, and indeed it is. So there are many really unique aspects to this program that you will not get anywhere else in any other MA PhD program. One of them is pre and perinatal psychology, which is one of my areas of expertise. This pre and perinatal psychology program, the prenatal origins of health is how it's described in the curriculum, is really crucial to how we look at health generally. And it has been ignored and disregarded, and also tells us another component of this program that is related to that is essential and almost utterly neglected, which is the differentiation between shock and trauma. I would say without these two things, the understanding of the prenatal origins of health and the differentiation between shock and trauma, we cannot understand the evolution of the human nervous system and the evolution of immune function. So within this program, you have the opportunity to really dive deep into these topics and honoring the Ubiquity vision from a personal as well as a collective standpoint.
Great, thank you. I think we answered Ruth's question, Stella, unless, yeah, Ruth's nodding there. Claire's asking how long the TARA approach tracks take if you do them in sequence before starting the dissertation. Do you have a sense of that, Stephanie?
Yeah, you should be able to complete that TARA approach certification process if you're diligent, focused, and follow through on everything within a year.
Great. And remember that you can, in fact, we'd encourage you to take the Creative Journey to Dissertation course at the beginning of that process, because that will really give you a context for going through the coursework and help you integrate your coursework with your thesis or dissertation writing. This is a very specific one, Stephanie. This one you'll have to take here. Sheila's question: APA certified, PPNE, any chance of credits towards the coursework?
Thank you, Sheila. I was just about to answer. I am, of course, quite familiar with the APA process, and I will request that you take the prenatal origins of health within the MA curriculum in order to get that credit. So I'm not going to transfer credits in from APA.
Okay, that's clear. Any other questions? Jeffrey, is financial aid available? No, we don't have financial aid available, Jeffrey. We do allow payment in installments, as I described earlier. And part of our commitment at Ubiquity is to provide global affordability. So you might have noticed that the Ubiquity part of the MA only costs $3,500, and I don't think you'd find an MA anywhere for under $20,000 at the minimum. And the PhD, you tend to pay like $100,000, so $15,000 for that is extremely affordable. And we allow people to stretch it out over time so that you can work part-time. We don't penalize you for adding extra years or anything like that. So we don't have the financial aid, but we do have what we believe is a very affordable degree and the ability to spread the payments out over time. Through the installments and or through kind of doing it part-time. Yeah, the total, Kendra's asking the total for the total. Remember, Kendra, there's two parts to it. There's what you would pay for Stephanie's program, and then what you pay for the Ubiquity program. So what those numbers that you see on the Ubiquity site, those are for all of your Ubiquity credits and your major advisor, and they include the Creative Journey course and the Great Books course. No, not the course price for the Great Books, I think. What they don't include is the Chartres program, because of course you could choose to take it in person or take it online. So depending on what you choose, will determine the cost of that. If you choose to go in person, there are of course logistics costs that you would have to pay on top of the course costs. So that's the setup. What is the cost for Stephanie's part of the program? Asked Claire.
So the cost for the Regenerative Health program that's offered through the affiliation with Climate Change and Consciousness, it'll be on that platform. That is variable because it depends on how many courses you want to take. So there are the core courses, and then there are the various tracks, and you can select from those tracks. And so the total fee that you would pay for that component is going to vary according to what you select.
Do you have those prices available on the website, Stephanie, or anywhere yet?
Yes, I just completed last night a calendar with the overview of the prices. And once again, email me directly and I will send that to you.
Perfect.
And it will be on my website. Courtney, who is here and is one of my students and also my assistant, she will help me in getting that posted on the website. It will also be posted on the Climate Change and Consciousness website. Thank you, Courtney, for all your incredible help.
Right, that's just the kind of person you need. And so there was one other question I saw here. Oh yeah, Leslie asks, is that first year with the TARA course the same as the TARA track? And how would the other tracks come in?
The first year with the TARA program is So I'm sorry, I'm not understanding that question before I answer it. Let me get
Leslie,
more.
feel free to unmute if you want to ask your question.
Yeah, please do.
Oh, we can't hear you for some reason. You are unmuted, but we still can't hear you. Sometimes it's like people have got these ear pods, you know, you ever had this and your ear pods connect when you don't really want them to, and no one can hear you.
And let me just say, while we're waiting for Leslie to unmute, that feel free to email me with any questions that you have. And if they're related to the other tracks, I will direct you to Spring or Stella. We are the S's. And if I can answer you directly, of course I will. And I tend to respond immediately.
Right. Well, Leslie, maybe come back to us. Okay, come back to us if you got it sorted. But otherwise, as Stephanie said, feel free to email her. Is that first year the core program or the Tyra track, and how would one orchestrate taking the tracks?
Yes. And you orchestrate it by signing up for the courses. So that's where I'm confused. What is the question there?
You basically just select the courses for the track you want to explore, right?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. And is it, Stephanie, just for your program, is it people pay as they go? Do they pay as they take the courses, or do they pay it up front? Or
You'll register for the course and pay up front. Exactly. Yes.
okay, pay per course as you go, or pay for the whole
Yes.
program?
Pay per course.
Right.
Yes. Each course will have its own fee structure, and that will be available on the website, on the Tara Approach website, and also on the Climate Change and Consciousness website.
So people can pace it, you know, like that as well.
Exactly. Yeah. It makes it very affordable. And I do want to say, as someone who didn't complete paying for her school loans for my doctoral process until I was in my 60s, that these fees are remarkable. I don't think you will find a program with fees that are as affordable as these anywhere in the world. And the same is true, I feel, for the regenerative health course fees. They are incredibly reasonable.
Thanks, Stephanie. Yeah, that's really a commitment to accessibility to higher education, you know, kind of regardless of wealth as far as possible. So Elizabeth says, my MA is in neuroscience from 1975. Wow, I was 6 then, Elizabeth. Is that good enough? Absolutely. Why shouldn't it be? An MA in neuroscience. Fantastic, even if it's from 1975. No problem. Anyone else?
Susan looks like she's about to ask a question. Dear Susan is,
No.
you're not about to ask a question. A student of mine from Wales, who I'm thrilled to see here. I haven't seen you in a while, Susan. Welcome.
Maybe we'll put Nora's email address here as well, in case anybody has direct questions about the admissions process. Feel free to email Nora there. But do have a look at the landing page. A lot of the info is there. There's also a link to a question and answer page as well, where a lot of the kind of typical questions are included. But basically the next steps, you know, if you're interested, if you know already you're interested, feel free to go straight to the landing page, sign up, pay the first installment, and that guarantees your place in the next Creative Journey course. Or if you just want to signal your interest on the form that Raji's put in there, that will also help us follow up with you and try to find the Creative Journey course that best suits you.
So maybe I'll say a few more words about the Regenerative Health Program, and then ask my dear other S's to bring their voices into the room. So I had this vision of the Regenerative Health Program early this morning, and I am sharing this with you because I am so pleased with the partnership with Ubiquity University. So I saw the program as a human organism that the entire regenerative health program is a living organism. And I really want to impress that upon you because I see the students, you, the students, as the digestive mechanism of this living organism. I see Ubiquity University as the legs of this beautiful vision that I am so honored to deliver to the world, a vision of regenerative health that allows healthcare to be serviceable at the grassroots level. I see the faculty as the arms of this organism. I am privileged to be at its heart. The primitive brain of this organism is our collective shock and trauma. The limbic brain of this living organism is our compassion to be of service to humanity. And the cortical brain of this living organism is all of us together implementing this vision. I want to also tell you that the outcome of becoming a regenerative health embodiment is that you will be able to provide true healthcare, to be a representative of what health really means, to create a new definition of health, healthcare, and healthcare delivery for children, for families, for our beloved elders, and for communities. That is my vision, that is my intention, and that is the empowerment we want to transmit to you. So I'd love to hear from Stella and Spring. Stella.
Yeah, I want to speak to this. I love that analogy of us collectively being part of the body of this program. And I want to speak to the value of couching this in a MA PhD program. I think I've had questions about that myself, because of course I come at this from a perspective that it's important at this time to reskill medicine at a very grassroots level, as a very like a very hands-on and down and dirty, let's, you know, transform communities and councils of grandmothers and, you know, children, and let's all collectively remember how easy it is to heal ourselves, to put ourselves into a paradigm that supports our healing as opposed to one that thwarts it at every step. And so I think this, you know, as like there's a little bit, it's like, I think sometimes we think about, oh, well, we need a PhD or a master's because everybody else has one, or we can't be legitimized without it. And we're actually seeking to overturn that. But there's still a value in getting in the embodied process of going through these steps of earning a master's or PhD, you know, where you buckle down and write the paper and sort through your thoughts and put them on page and metabolize the information to such a degree that you do in fact master it, that you can add something to it, right? Like there's a you know, if you two have questions about whether or not you need actually that extra step, I think that's the answer, that there's a mastery, there's a doctoral level that is actually gained by walking through the process. So it's not as at odds with itself as it might seem. In fact, I'm thinking maybe I should take the doctoral program. So thank you. Thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you. I really enjoy hearing both what Stephanie and Stella said. I want to add that, you know, as a healthcare provider, as health worker, we're very unique in that we are the instrument. You know, unlike, you know, we're not using knife to cut people. You know, as acupuncture, you may use needle, but really it's really extension of our finger, and you know, we use our own hands, our own heart. So I encourage or invite you to see this as an opportunity I mean, the MA and PhD is an external manifestation, but what's really happening is this is a process and opportunity for us to cultivate ourselves. This primary instrument that will be the interface between us and our loved one, whoever we care for, and the world. And also, what I remember when I get my master degree in acupuncture, the most precious thing for me is to learn with a community. Is the learning happened with the cohort that we really bonded as a family. Of course, that's an in-person program. So, but I think we have this wonderful opportunity to make a community, a global community. You are all over different places. So, and we'll weave the energy of different places you come in. And yeah, so the cultivation of self and the experience of, because things you will change, and I almost can guarantee you, if you put yourself through this program, more and more of yourself will show up. The part of you don't know yet, the power you held within that endowed to you through your ancestry, through your soul origin, will show up. And this is an opportunity to hold hands together in a container, in a beautiful container created here by all the people who hold the container, and with the fire of creation. And on the other hand, a new self will be born. Talking about pre and perinatal psychology. This is a womb, the fire of the womb. Yeah.
Thank you. As many of you know, I am a visionary, and it is that visionary self that selected my other two S's, Stella and Spring, to be on this faculty. And I think now you see why. So thank you, everyone, for your interest, for your courage to dare to believe in what seems impossible, that we could actually be the cohort of healthcare providers that the world is waiting for. We can identify the way healthcare in whatever country you live in is failing. But how do we step into that gap and maximize what is innate in us? That's what you will experience in this program. That's what I and Spring and Stella will personally invest in you to develop. Thank you. I hope you can feel that this goes beyond certification. This goes beyond money. This goes beyond marketing. This is about the future of humanity, who I dare to love. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, everybody. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Bye for now.
Thank you, Peter and Raji and Jim. And Nora, thank you, everyone, for your participation, for building this program. Thank you.